Hey everybody, this is G. Kelly Dixon here. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna actually break down a flip for you. I get a lot of people, they come to me and they say, hey, how do I evaluate a deal? How do I look at, how do I know what's a good deal? I'm gonna go through numbers of an actual flip right now. And you may be surprised at the end of this. So, we have a great deal, and we're going to break it down like this. So we find this great deal that's worth $300,000. After repair value is $300,000. And we're able to buy this deal for $150,000 and only $40,000 in repairs. And what we are expecting is a profit of $110,000. Wrong. Okay? I'm going to show you right now why it's wrong. So we're going to break this down a little bit further, okay? We buy this property for, let's say, 100% financing. No money out of pocket. And we're going to keep our math simple. Because it's no money out of pocket and this lender's being very aggressive, they're charging us 12% interest, okay? 12% interest, interest only, 12%. What does that break down to? That's 1% per month, okay? What are we financing? We're financing $190,000, $150,000 acquisition, and we're only doing $40,000 in repairs. We're going to assume that we pay the closing cost out of pocket, which is standard. Most lenders do not want to pay the closing cost and give you 100% financing. So let's break this down a little bit further. So, property, $300,000 after repairs. We bought it for $150,000, and now we have $40,000 in repairs, $110,000 worth net profit, right? We said it wrong already. Here we go. We have closing costs. So when we buy the property, we have closing costs. We're going to assume these closing costs are 5%. What exactly is closing cost, G. Kelly? I'm glad you asked. We have legal expenses typically, right? We have lawyers. We have title bills that we have to run. So we have a title company that has to insure it and give us title insurance. A mortgage tax typically when we go to record. We have property taxes. If they weren't paid or we have to pay it forward, we may have prorated property taxes. We have mortgage points. If we're getting a mortgage and a broker's involved, we have points. And then we have a whole bunch of other miscellaneous stuff that I can go on and on and on and talk to you about. But we're going to sum it up and say closing costs, and we're going to assume that's 5%. And we have recording costs too. I can get into that, but we're just going to sum it up and say quote-unquote closing costs. So closing costs, we take 5% of the $190,000 acquisition price. That gives us a whopping $9,500 in closing costs. So if we take that $9,500, we knock that off, we start losing money very quickly. We have to get hazard insurance, okay? What happens if one of the contractors are in there and the property just burns down? The bank wants to make sure that the interest is protected. We're going to do hazard insurance at $1,500. Then what do we have? We have carrying costs. Guess what? Banks don't lend us money for free. You don't say. So we have to pay 1 point every month. Well, how long do you expect to hold the property for? Well, it's going to take us a few months, maybe a month or two, depending on to fix the property. We may need permits. Hopefully we don't, right? Then we have to actually put the property on the market. Then we have to actually find a buyer. Then we have to go into contract. And then we got to give that buyer time to get their loan in order to close. So we're going to assume, wishful thinking, 6 months, okay? Granted, if you get in and out of deals in 6 months, you're going to do very well in this business, okay? But you got to move fast, all right? 6 month time frame is very aggressive, okay? But I always tell you, be prepared for 9 to 12 months, just in case. You never know when you need to file a permit. And if you have a slow municipality, just saying. If we do 6 months, okay, and we're doing a point a month, we are roughly at $11,400 in carrying costs. Okay, so that comes out of our profit. So now, property is repaired. We paid the mortgage. Property looks beautiful. We put the property on the market and we sell it. Typically, we're not going to sell the property ourselves. Some of us may, some of us may not. But we usually hire somebody. It's called a real estate broker. And guess what? The real estate broker has to get paid. So we're going to be modest here. And if you're in a very low, you're in an area where the property values are low, guess what? You're going to pay a higher real estate commission. If you're in an area where the property values are high, your percentage commission will probably be lower. In this case, we're going to say 4%. I think that's fair. So this real estate broker that's marketing and showing your property is asking for 4% commission. We pay it. $12,000. So now we got another $12,000. It's 4% of the sales price. Keep in mind, we're selling at $300,000. So it's 4% of the actual sales price, which is 12,000 big ones to the real estate agent. Woohoo! They got to get paid too, right? But a good one is worth their weight in gold. Trust me. $12,000 off the profit. Now we have more closing costs. Why? We may have a legal. We have transfer taxes. We have other things that we may have to pay. We may have some property taxes that we didn't pay while we own the property. Whatever the case may be, there are additional closing costs. So we're just going to sum that up, and we're going to keep that at 3%. We're going to say $5,000 less. So we're going to put that at $4,500. Okay? So we have closing costs when we sell the property. These may vary depending on what the situation is. You always need to pay attention to your title bill. It is very, very, very important. I don't know if that was my Al Pacino voice. Let's do the math. That $110,000 drops significantly. We are now down to $71,100 in profit. Still a very good deal, by the way. Still, I would do that deal every day of the week. But we forgot somebody else that has to get paid. You know who that is? It's your uncle. Okay? There's two uncles that always take my money. Uncle Sam and Bill. Bill comes every month. Uncle Sam comes after every project. Whatever the case may be, they got to get paid, right? So we pay them. Okay, let's do some simple math here. We're going to assume that this is your only flip of the year and you make a little money extra. So let's assume your tax bracket is at 24%. And at a 24% tax bracket, because you sold this property and it's an ordinary income, talk to your accountant about this, obviously. Your taxes could be higher or lower depending. We're going to assume that you're at the 24% tax bracket. These taxes are going to cost you $17,064 that is going to come out of your profit for taxes. So now, what we really have left after all this is said and done is $54,036. Now, I will say this. This is a realistic view of how you should be evaluating a property. I will also say this is extremely optimistic because I will tell you a few things you should always keep in mind. First thing, always borrow more money than you need. If you think the job is going to be $40,000, borrow $60 because you never know and you never want to run out of money on a construction job. Don't ask me how I know. Number two, the longer you hold the property, the more you lose money. Okay? Very important. All right? Very, very, very important. Try to finance your carrying cost as well. It's important. So in addition to your construction, if you can, finance your carrying costs included in the budget. Or else you'll be paying it out of pocket. And the one thing you don't want to miss is a payment. Whew, that could be in deep trouble. I haven't done that, fortunately. Not on a construction job. So, bear in mind. But, I have had it where it's been very hurtful to hold the property. Okay? So make sure that you have that. These little mistakes that can go wrong can be very costly. Number three, make sure you know the title cost before you go to closing. Important. A lot of times you'll get to the table and you'll be surprised. Make sure you know exactly how much you are expected to put out when you get to the table. There's when you sell, it should be a little easier because you've held the property and most of the stuff should have been cleared up in the first place before you bought. But when you go in, a lot of times there could be additional judgments and liens that are not going to get financed, and you could be very shocked to know that, hey, your title bill is looking a lot larger than it should be, and potentially, if you don't have the money to pay for it, potentially kill your deal. And always, always, always give yourself more time than you actually need. I like to schedule for 9 to 12 months to be exact. Reason why? You never know what's going to happen. Trust me, things happen all the time. Sometimes I've had jobs where I have brand new piping. I'm in the wrong neighborhood. Now I have no piping. Now I have to repipe. If I didn't have schedule for that and I didn't have the money, things would happen. And that also adds time onto the property. So whatever your final number is after you include after you include additional mortgage payments, all right? After you include maybe additional repairs, surprises, you basically want to have a 25% cushion, okay? Just because you never, ever, ever know. I'd rather borrow it and not need it than need it and not have it. Very important stuff here. This is G. Kelly Dixon signing off. Flip Evaluation 101.